Today is the first Sunday of Advent, the first Sunday of the Church's calendar. On this first Sunday of Advent, we begin a new cycle of readings, lessons, in this new liturgical year. We begin a new year of being together as the body of Christ. We turn a page and look to a new future. Now, I must admit, I love Advent. In fact, it's my favorite season of the liturgical year. When I was growing up at Christ Church in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, a huge 10 or 12 foot in diameter wreath, resplendent in greenery, would be suspended from the crossing of the nave. And I loved the way that Advent wreath, like this Advent wreath will do for you, how that Advent wreath marked time, marked the weeks towards that great midnight Mass on Christmas Eve, what of course we call the Christ Mass, Christmas. I would sit there in the choir stalls, yes, I was a choir boy, just below the wreath, and watch and count the weeks as each candle would be lit. First one, then two, then three with the rose candle, and then four. The increasing light seemed to offer the promise of new possibility, new light, and new life. Even as the days here in New England grow more dreary and cold and darker. I loved, and frankly continue to love, the sense of wonder, of hope, and expectation that is at the heart of this initial season in our life as Christians. Wonder, hope, and expectation. So the invitation to dwell in wonder and in hope and in expectation, even as the world seems to be crashing down around us, is what our lessons this morning are all about. Our first reading from the prophet Jeremiah and our gospel lesson from Luke in particular speak about new life and new possibility, even as the old is passing away. Our lessons this morning point us to something or someone who is coming, something filled with promise, light, and life. Now, the book of the prophet Jeremiah is set within the context of the destruction of Judah and the exile of the Jewish people in Babylon as a result of their idolatrous and unjust ways. This experience and trauma, this loss and exile for the people, however, is not the end of the story. For in the closing chapters of Jeremiah, the prophet proclaims that a day is coming when a new king will be raised up, a king who will be of the house of David. And this new king, Jeremiah tells us, will execute justice and righteousness in the land. Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will live in safety. In the face of destruction and exile, Jeremiah holds out a vision of wonder, of hope, and of expectation of something better to come. Jeremiah prophesies that those who are in exile will be restored, and a new king in the line of David will inaugurate an age of peace and prosperity in the promised land, and in the whole world. Death, destruction, exile are not the end. Jeremiah invites the people of Judah to live in wonder and hope and expectation for a new, restored, and reconciled reality. And then Jesus, in his words in the Gospel from Luke, are set in the same context, a similar context of death and destruction and exile.